tell my bitch get ready to go. Give her a mission, she bring me the dope. I tell my bitch get ready to go. I tell my bitch get.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Raul Hinokilo. I'm a mental performance consultant. So the topic I wanted to go over today is learned helplessness. Okay, so learned helplessness, it looks different across different populations, right? When I say it looks different, is it can manifest itself in different situations, different manners, and things like that. So I think this is going to be helpful for not just people dealing with learned helplessness, but also coaches and just people in leadership positions, right? And this can be applicable easily to teachers, to parents, managers. It can be applied to any situation, or to any situation that has someone that's dealing with learned helplessness. So the first thing we got to do is define it. What is learned helplessness? So it's learned helplessness. It's when someone stops trying to change their circumstances after continuously facing negative situations. Okay, so rather it's an athlete that is constantly performing substandard, regardless of how much effort they're putting in, that athlete may just stop going to practice early. They may stop going to practice altogether, or they may stop putting in that extra time outside of practice to cover things like their nutrition, their sleep, or getting just some extra work in, or some extra like imagery reps and things like that. It can even be a student who stops studying after they fail multiple tests, even though they are studying. They may just stop altogether. One way that it manifests itself, usually, it's a student who can't perform well in a particular subject, so they just write it off as saying they're not good at math, or just whatever they end up saying in that situation. But premise is that they just can't perform well at a particular subject, so they just stop trying altogether. That's usually the first sign. That's usually the first time we also start seeing it, because they spend a lot more time in school. They spend a lot more time around their peers that way, and it can be they see other people doing it, and they may try to emulate it because it looks easy. It looks easy to just kind of give up. Okay. Another time is whenever parents do everything for their kids, so like their chores. So if a kid has a chore list and the parent does it for them, more often than not, they will lack personal agency. They won't have. They'll lack self-responsibility, and they just they'll lean a little bit more on their parents to finish things that are not done. Okay. They don't learn to take care of themselves. Okay, because why should they? Why do they need to learn to take care of themselves if their parents, a teacher, another person in a leadership position is doing things for them? So they ultimately learn to be helpless. Okay. This can impact a lot of things, right? If you're a leader, you have likely been faced with a situation where you have an employee, a subordinate, an athlete, somebody who has this kind of behavior, and you may feel helpless yourself because you just want to give up on the person because they've already given up on themselves. Okay, so this is where some of the interventions will come in. The first thing that you have to do is place the accountability back on the individual. Sometimes that individual may not know what accountability looks like. They may not know what they need to do in the first place because everything's been done for them their whole lives. So as that person who's trying to reverse it or trying to help this person out, you need to place that accountability back on that person. How do you do it? Is giving them options, right? Hey, if you don't do this, this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen. So you can choose to have this outcome, or you can choose to have this outcome. Okay? Ultimately, it's your choice. So you're giving them that autonomy back, that sense of control back in their own lives to ultimately decide what happens to them or for them or against them, whatever it is, right? You have to place that accountability back on that individual. Okay, as a leader, as a person in that position, you have got to put it back on that individual. oftentimes the person may feel like a victim, right, at first, because it's a never-ending state of feeling helpless, okay? It's a never-ending state where you know almost feel like the world is out to get you if you're experiencing learned helplessness, because just everything is not going in your favor, and you just don't have that. You don't feel like you have that sense of control, when in reality there is so much more in your control than you think. So giving them that intervention of placing that accountability and giving them that autonomy of choice back to them, they're going to have that moment where they say, okay, they just laid this out for me. If I take this route, this is going to happen. If I take this route, this is going to happen. Now, be 100% real with you. Is it going to work the first time? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. This is where the persistence comes in. As a leader, as the person in that role, as that coach, you have got to continue to place the accountability back on that person. Okay. Is there a point where you should give up on the person? I'm going to let you guys discuss that and figure that out, okay? I do believe that there is a point of no return, okay? So when I say that, I mean as I'm the individual that's trying to help somebody, if I'm continuously putting this person in a situation where they can choose their own route, and they still are not grasping, there's only so much you can do. Okay, so that's what I mean when I say the point of no return. Doesn't mean that I'm going to stop providing those options for them. No. If I'm still going to be in a leadership position for that person, I am not going to stop providing those choices. Okay, it's not a one size fits all. Okay, it may look different. You might have to take a different approach, but that is absolutely one of the first steps is providing the accountability. And anything past that barrier, anything past the point of you providing them that resource or that choice, that's 100% on them, okay? And that's something that they have to realize too, the individual who's feeling helpless, okay? Two things to remember. If you're feeling helpless, what is in my circle of influence and what is in my circle of control? Things in your control, you have the autonomy and the control completely to drive the outcome, okay? Whether it's positive or negative, productive or counterproductive. Influence, you can influence the direction of where something is going, but you may not have control on the outcome, okay? It has to be a very clear thing of what you can control and what you can influence before you can start taking productive steps forward. So I have this wheel, okay, things that I can control, things that I can't control, how I express my feelings, how I bounce back, things that you cannot control, right? You can't control what other people think. You can't control the past and future. You can't control other people's actions, okay? What are things that you can influence, okay? So that's all I got for today. I really appreciate you guys watching. I have a few topics that I'm going to be recording in the next few days that I'm going to be putting out. If you have any suggestions, which I have received a few different suggestions, send me a message on Instagram, comment below, let me know what you guys want to hear about. I got you. I'm here to help you guys perform at your best, whether it's in your sport, your profession, or your relationships. Okay? But that's all I got. Y'all have a good one.